Last week we started a new series called Goals. Everyone say goals? Goals. Goals. Anybody have any goals in the room? Awesome. I really don't have any goals right now. I really don't have it. I need to get some. I don't have any right now. It's great, you guys. I just want to take a poll. Last week we talked about this idea of one of our goals for our life is having Christ at the center of our life, okay? Christ at the center of our life. If you missed out on last week, go to our YouTube channel, watch that message. I just highly encourage you to kind of capture what it means when it comes to relationships, having Christ at the center of your relationship. But we've got to start with Christ at the center of our lives in order for him to be the Christ at the center of our relationships, okay? So let's go back, look at that if you missed last week. I had so much fun, but I opened with this idea, this story, this concept from this. Is Kara and I will post pictures of ourselves, this selfie, or we'll grab a stranger, take a picture of us, and commonly people will comment on it, and they'll write goals, relationship goals, something along those lines. I found it so interesting that somebody would desire a moment in time that I was forced into a physical position, that I was moved from the left side to the right side, that I was told, why do you smile like that I was corrected chin down, not chin up, because apparently I look better with my chin down than I do with my chin up, that I sent that picture then to Kes Liddycoat. Kes Liddycoat then edited it to a degree that only a millennial could, to then she sent it back to me, so then I posted it, so then someone wrote, goals. You don't want that moment of my life. Like, I understand what people are trying to say is like that relationship, but that relationship that you're desiring isn't as great as you think. It isn't. It's amazing, and we love God, and we also love to fight. We love being this thing. What's it called? Being right. You ever heard of it before? We both have an innate ability of always thinking we are right at all times. And marriage comes with compromise, comes with fights, comes with difficulties, and I truly believe without Christ at the center of our lives, Kara and I would be explosive. Because I know with God at the center of our lives, we are explosive. Because think about it. It's so cute. Opposites attract. Oh, I love it so much. And raise your hand if you're married and you are opposites that attract it. See, dating, it's cute. Opposites attract. Marriage, opposites attack. You thought it was amazing that he was nonchalant and Jesus didn't have a care in the world and was just so nice. And now you call him lazy. Why can't you make a decision? It's this attack. It was amazing. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, in marriage, you'll fight about anything. You'll fight about breathing, done it. You'll fight about eating, done it. You'll fight about the toilet paper, which way it should go. You'll fight about anything in marriage. It is, and without Christ at the center of it, without that idea, that moment, we can miss it so badly. And so, this isn't a message for married people or single people or for divorced or widowed. This is for everybody. If you want God at the center of your life, this message last week, this week are for you. And specifically, I want to go over this idea, this topic that God talks about over and over again when it comes to marriage. I want to talk about very specifically the covenant of marriage. Everyone say covenant. Just a word you use in your regular basis. Just commonly, like, yeah, no, I'm in a covenantal relationship. Yeah. I'm in a covenant right now. I don't know about you. And people are like, you weirdo. I don't know what you're talking about. A covenant is this moment, is commonly promises between God and humanity. But when God creates marriage, he creates us to be in a covenantal relationship between humanity, but God is included as well. That's the big kicker when it comes to that relationship. The term covenant is this Latin origin word meaning coming together. It means bonding. It means being together in that moment. It's a promise between God and humanity about love. And I have a daughter who's 2.5 years old, and I adore her. We went in public the other day on Valentine's to a restaurant, like a whole family, and she was dressed up, hair included, as Elsa. And I didn't understand it before I had a daughter. Now that I have a daughter, I'm like, totally get it. Like, people who are walking in public with a fully dolled up little girl, I'm like, absolutely, she's a princess of the household. And so here she comes cruising in, and when she's dressed as Elsa, she owns the space. She owns life. And we have Disney Plus, and so we watch a lot of Disney movies, and there's this little princess tab, and we click princess, and at all the princess movies we begin to indulge in, which I love. And the other day it was just her and I. She was sick, okay? She was sick, and so it's just her and I. We're spending time together, and I go, Berkeley, let's watch Little Mermaid. And so it wasn't for her, it was for me. She was distracted, and I watched the entire movie. And while I was watching Little Mermaid, I watched this part that I think is so similar to how many of us view love. It's this incredible moment. You might remember Little Mermaid. A young man is dying, and you know, this half fish, half person saves this young man and brings him to shore and brings him back to life. And you know, you got Guppy, and you got the whole gang there, and it's a whole thing, and saves him. And she sings as well, and it is love at first sight, maybe first voice as well. Like, it's love is in the air, and she scurries off, and you know, she's really being disobedient because she's not supposed to go up to, you know, surface, and you know, classic daughter. And so like that's the premise of the whole thing, and she is just stricken with love. She is dumbfounded with love. You might relate. Like, early on in love, you will do anything. Like, tell me more. Oh, that's the best story I've ever heard. Then you get married. I mean, like here you have this, and do you remember this part where she grabs a rose underwater, because that's real, and grabs this rose, and she goes, "He loves me, he loves me not. Loves me, loves me not. Loves me, loves me." And by happen chance, the rose had enough petals to fall on, "He loves me." And she's convinced that she needs to marry this young man, this prince. And so she will do anything. This relate to any of your stories? She ignores her father. You wouldn't, but she did. She's willing to leave her family. She's willing to alter her body. This doesn't sound like anybody in the room that's ever been in love before. When you fall in love, you will do anything in the world. And everybody says she's crazy and she's insane. It shouldn't happen. And you know, the long story short, you'll have to watch the film. It's wonderful. She gets her man. They don't know each other. They don't know. They don't know, like, if he picks his nose and eats it. She doesn't know, like, if he's a loud talker. She doesn't know if he's got bad breath or sweaty palms. She doesn't know if he's got a short fuse. She knows nothing. Conventional wisdom would tell us you shouldn't do that. I would tell you, absolutely be in love. Love at first sight, affection. See, here's the thing. We try to equate love to being the right set of ways to fall in love, and I want to tell you, love is all about a choice. It's all about the matter of choosing to stay in a relationship is more important than how you got in the relationship. I bet you many people in this room, the way you met your spouse, the way you met the person dating, you don't even like to tell the true story to your kids. Dusty's nodding her head. You have this, I mean, we met in a bar. Kids, where'd you meet? Restaurant? Like, seriously, you have these stories of how you met, and you're like, yeah, we tell like a version of it to the kids. Maybe when they're older, we'll be, okay enough. I mean, but the reason why your marriage has made it is because you chose to be in a covenant. You chose to be in this relationship. It's not based on anything else. It's not based on coming and going. It's based on I'm going to be a part of this for the rest of my life, because Matthew chapter 19, verse 3 through 6, where we're going to be today. It reads this, and it's really the pivotal moment when it comes to love and marriage. So if you're single and you're looking, if you're dating and you found and you're like, I think so. If you're dating and you're found, you're like, I don't think so. If you're widowed or divorced, this is all for us because the context of marriage is this. Some Pharisees came to him, being Jesus, and to test him, classic Pharisee. They asked, is it lawful? Notice their words, such jerks, such punks, like these religious leaders, and I don't want to, don't do this to me, to test him. They asked, is it lawful? Basically, can I get away with it? You ever try to find the gray in the black and white? Is it lawful? Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any and every reason? Like these guys, they're just looking for a way out. And listen, if you've married long enough, you've thought that before. Maybe not everybody, but there's moments when you're like, I've made a huge mistake. I think they're crazy. Most likely they're thinking the same thing about you, just to be clear. For any reason, and haven't you, and I love his reply. Haven't you read, he replied, that at the beginning, the Creator made them male and female, and said, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become, how many? One. Say it again. One flesh. One flesh. The two will become one. Verse 6. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. I want to encourage your marriage today. I want to encourage your singleness today. I want to encourage whatever state of relationship you have right now, because God is going to heal the way that you view your singleness, the way you view your divorce, the way that you view adultery, the way you view a brokenness, the way you view the pain in your marriage. That God is going to heal the way you view so many different areas in the way that He views marriage. Because oftentimes we view it how we want it, but I want us to view it how He designed it. His word stays true. No one can separate. But one flesh. I love that moment. But one flesh. Because you got to remember this. What God unites, the devil tries to divide. Talk about anything. Any area of your life. What God unites you with, what God unites your marriage, what God unites you to a job, what God unites to your sexuality, what God unites to your communication with your spouse, what God unites, the devil is always trying to divide that area of your life. He's trying to steal, kill, and destroy that. He's trying to hurt it. He's trying to break it up. You ever have that moment where you look at your spouse and you just think, we're not on the same page? I would probably assume it's because the devil's winning at division. Because if he can divide, he can break up. But God unites these areas. God keeps us. God drew us together. You made a choice in this moment to be with that other person. See, God desires a united family. The devil desires a divided family. That's why God hates divorce. He doesn't mince words with that. He doesn't joke around in that moment. He says hate. That's such a strong way of explaining that, because what God unites, the devil divides. Your prayer life, we gave a charge this last week. We said for 7 days in a row, husbands, grab your spouse's hand. Singles in the room, grab onto yourself and pray these things over yourself. Pray for your marriage. Pray for your singles. Pray for your future husband someday. Like pray for your future wife someday. Like maybe have these moments. And so Karen and I, we went off in our prayer journey. Day 2, we forgot. Anybody else forget? Oh. Day 2, the next morning, I woke up. Kara came downstairs. I was like, over here. So what? I was like, you got to give me your hand. We totally forgot. We just fell asleep. We just went to bed, fell asleep, woke up the next day. I was like, we didn't pray together. We prayed together the next day. Because remember, we said, if you miss a day, don't miss. Sometimes you miss. But don't miss 2. And because that easily could have been a promise I made to Kara, something I didn't go back to, and all of a sudden the devil's creating division in our life. He's using that against us. Well, Kyle doesn't want to do that. That's not a thing. All of a sudden, there's division and strife. This is goals for singles, marrieds, confused, living together. Because relationships are so important. I hope you guys realize this. In this goals, relationships are either liabilities or assets. Relationships will either be liabilities or assets. What's a liability? It's something that can take from you, and an asset is something that you can get from it. It can give to you. And relationships in your life can either be liable. Think about it. Everyone has a friend that's a liability. Like, you want to hang out with them, and you're like, I could go to jail. Like you want to hang out with them, but they suck. What I'm trying to get is they suck life from you. Life suckers. You go away actually depleted, not encouraged. But assets, marriage, friendships, they should be assets. Man, every time I leave my friend, I feel encouraged. I feel better. They call things out in my life, and it may have been a difficult conversation, but I'm on my way to a better path. And some of the problems you face are the results of the people you embrace. Some of the problems you're facing in your life are just because a relationship you have, you've chosen to embrace a relationship that sucks life from you. I mean, we gotta be really wise with those relationships, and even in the midst of singles in the room, male and female, and like single. I want to say that singleness might be the most important time of your life. It's the only time in your life where you're only responsible for who? You. Singleness is the only time of your life that you are only responsible for you. But oftentimes we waste our time wanting something we think we want. I'd encourage singles in the room today to maximize your singleness. Be dedicated to God more than you've ever been dedicated before, not desiring something that you think is going to solve a loneliness issue. See, we get so sick of singleness that we think marriage will solve a loneliness problem. See, what the enemy can't destroy, he'll distract. Singles running strong and moving along and fighting for it, and I think commonly singles get a bad rap in the local church. And I just want to encourage, if you're married in the room, don't set up a single in the room. Don't do it. Here's the thing we got to remember. Like, marriage in the room. Okay, don't fix singles. They're not broken or sick. They are just single. And the single said, preach. Divorced, alone, don't engage on a time and a place that God's going to utilize because you feel bad for the state that they're in. You can have conversations. I mean, I don't think singles in the room are like, okay, not like the most handsome of us, yeah, maybe. But you can be 35, single, and a Christian. And be just fine. Jesus did it. And he was pretty good. We look at these moments and these times because what the enemy can't destroy, he'll distract. And I think that's why we got to maximize a singleness instead of speak down to a singleness. Oh, someday you'll find the right guy. Oh, someday you'll find the right girl. I mean, they already got God. They're good. And when God wants, he'll provide. Right. And the moment we stop being distracted, we might have eyes open to the one that's already there. We will be encouraged by that. But married people, don't mess it up for them. Get out of the way. Let God do his thing. You can encourage. You can be around. You can engage. But don't be in the way of saying, like, oh, you should really be married by now. That's your will. That's maybe not God's will. Can I get an amen? I just feel good about that one. Hey, I wrote that middle of the week, and I was like, when am I going to place this in? Right there. Okay, there's 3 approaches to marriage. Okay, 3 approaches to marriage. 3 approaches to marriage, and I want to go through all 3. First approach, casual. Casual. That casual. Everyone say casual. That casual approach to marriage. That just, come on. I'm there. Marriage doesn't really matter. Just a piece of paper. Maybe I'll give it a try. It's not a big deal. Someday I'll get married. I don't know. You meet that person? I don't know. Someday, God only asked me to, but I don't know. I might someday. Usually, when you have a casual approach to marriage, you got a casual approach to your sex life. Usually when you got a casual approach to marriage, you got a casual approach to your sex life. Barna did a study, 57% of people that they surveyed have lived with the opposite sex. Lived with the opposite sex. And this isn't like a shame thing. I mean, I'm sure plenty of people in the room have lived with the opposite sex, even slept in the same bed as the opposite sex at some point, and maybe even engaged in promiscuity and sex and all those types of things. And that may have happened. Let's just call it what it is. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to hear God's word. And so here, like, if that casual approach, and so we've got to realize that when we move in together, we act married. Now, when you act married and you're not married, you begin to do married things: the toothbrush, the plates together, the couch, the cat. There's always an animal involved. It's kind of really, really difficult on the animal, and but then when things don't go well, what happens? So, someone leaves. Now, we've got to realize this: that when we have a casual approach to marriage, we'll commonly be practicing divorce. Wow. So that when we get into a marriage, things don't go well, all of a sudden I had this casual approach to it. I had a casual approach to sex. I had a casual approach to live with. So when things don't begin to go well, I've got a casual approach to divorce. It just becomes a normal kind of thing that's a part of our lives. Again, this isn't a shame thing. This is we act like this and don't even realize it. I try this thing out. Maybe I'm not going to like it. I live with them. What if I'm not? See, remember, like Little Mermaid, it's not how they met, it's that they were committed to each other. They were committed to each other. And a casual approach will have that. I mean, the crass way that I can say it is if you are desperate to be married, but you're giving, the man everything, don't be surprised why he's not proposing to you, because why buy the cow when the milk's for free? He's already got everything. She's already got everything. There's no need for the next step. Everything's already there. There's no need. You're already practicing. So, hey, if you are living with each other, I get it. It's convenient. You save money. You do love this person. Like, I get the list. But what if we followed the things that God had for us and went into a marriage? Is it going to cost you more money? Yeah. But I'd rather be in God's will with less money than be out of God's will with more money. I'd rather be in God's will in those areas of my life. And doing married stuff. And I don't want to skip that moment. We practice divorce too often. Dating's one thing. You have a make-out sesh, date somebody, great, break up, cool, move on with your life. I don't think there's no soul tie to tongue tied. You're just fine. Made that up on the spot. Someone tweet that. That's good. There ain't no soul tie to tongue tie. I mean, like, absolutely. Can Christians date more? Like it just, and make out, and go to movies and get free girls, get free dinner. Like, I'm so jealous of that. I'm always paying, and probably some bad dates on that way. Never mind, don't do that. And so, I don't think that's practicing, but it's when you begin to create soul ties that you begin to practice those areas of your life. The second way, casual approach, contractual approach. It's just a contract. It's a piece of paper. I'm getting out of it. Hey, the one way to legally get divorced through the Word of God is what has to happen? Adultery. Many of us know that because we're waiting for that. Many of us are very aware of that because we know the one get-out-of-jail-free card. We know that moment in time because I'm in a contract. I'm in a thing. It's a contract based on mutual distrust. We trust each other enough to shake the hand to sign on the dotted line. Okay, who reads contracts? Don't raise your hand because I don't want to know who you are. Like, who reads contracts? I click contracts all the time. Yeah, sure. I'm just sure it's great. And the moment something's going bad, I'm like, where's that contract? Where'd that contract go? And I begin to look through it. I'm more confused by it. See, own a house and something breaks. Who repairs it? Grady. He's the one who does. Rent a house and something breaks. You don't pay. So when you're in a contract to rent a relationship, you can move on from it at any point. They don't live up to their side of the bargain. They don't live up to your graces and your kindness. They don't live up to your bar, whether it's spoken or unspoken. As long as you deliver, I'm in. But the moment you don't, I'm out. See, we have a casual approach. We have a contractual approach. But then we also have the biblical version, and it's a covenant. Marriage is a holy covenant established by God. Marriage isn't a contract. I want to encourage you today. You might be in a marriage right now and view it as a contract. I would encourage you today to save your marriage and turn it into a covenant. You may be in a marriage today and it's casual. You're looking at whatever on the internet and drinking whatever and kind of not so great to your kids, probably mean to your spouse, whether you're the male or female. You can play either role. And it's casual. You're here and there. You got a bunch of hidden stuff you're never going to let them know about. See, that is a casual relationship. See, casual relationships don't bring pain into the relationships because the moment that pain's there, they're out. But a covenant, a covenant, that means something died. Known as two became one. There had to be death to create that. This life and this marriage. See, a covenant is based on mutual commitment. Unconditional commitment motivated by a sacrificial love for one another. Karen and I, we do a lot of premarital relationship or counseling and meet with couples, and I always encourage this. Probably my first day, I say, I think marriage is the most selfish decision you'll ever make in your life. You look across the table, you're on a date, or you're watching them, and you're like, I'm attracted to that person. I like their personality. I even like the way they eat right now. They're selfish, similar paths on life. But the moment you give your life to that person on the day you get married, it's the most selfless decision you ever make. Because a husband and a wife are created to aid each other. It's the most selfless decision you'll ever make in your life. You'll serve them, and you'll serve them, and you'll serve them, and you'll serve them. And there's no point scale, and I wish there was. Oh, my goodness. Covenant comes from this Old Testament Hebrew word, berethi. It means cutting. It means shedding of blood. Commonly in the Old Testament, when people would get married, the priest would cut both of their hands and put them together and actually tie them together because they would become one that day. We don't do that anymore. That's crazy. Like, I'd be like, I'm in, but I don't know about the whole cutting of the thing. I don't know if I want to tell this part, but what happened at marriages in the Old Testament is they would leave the two of them, and the party would stop while they went to the room, and until they came, so like 8 seconds later they came back. It was the first time. It's the first time. Come on, married people are like, that's funny. Singles are like, really? Is it that? Yes. I don't know. Hey, in that moment, it was either confirmed whether she was a virgin or not. I don't need to tell any more details. But it was the covenant. It's a commitment to each other. It's soul ties. There's a difference. There's a change. My fear is that many people who walk with God have a casual or contractual relationship with their spouse. My bigger fear is that many people have that same, my bigger fear is that many people have that same idea of who God is. Because we are people here that choose Christ-centered and covenant-keeping lives with God. We choose a Christ-centered and covenant-keeping relationship with God. The problem is the way you view God will be the way you view marriage. If you have a casual approach and relationship, if you have a casual approach and relationship to God, you'll have a casual approach, relationship to your spouse. I got a friend in God that's great. I go in and out, we're here, we're there, we're everywhere. I love him. He's the best. We're moving and shaking. I just, God's just so kind. He's so great. And I come to church sometimes, and other times I don't. I definitely don't tithe. Definitely don't serve. Heck no, I ain't going to kids ministry. I'm just doing my thing, and I'm in and out. I'm just doing my thing. I'm just real casual with God. Got a great relationship. That's my bro. That's my guy. I think many of us, this is our relationship. See, if you have a casual approach to God, you'll be in and out, come and go. We're friends. That's my guy. He's not your guy. He's your God. Such a difference. That casual, I come and go. I don't really go to church. I kind of church, I just like to worship in my bedroom. Okay. I think many of us, in our relationship with God, we even have a contractual relationship with God. But at some point, someone around you got sick, and you got the faith enough to pray for them. God didn't heal them, and you said, "That's it, I'm out." You were supposed to do your heal thing, and you didn't heal them. You didn't keep your end of the bargain up. God, I'm out. I'm not doing this relationship anymore. See, the way you view God is the way you view marriage. It's the way you view friendships. You got a casual relationship. You got a contractual relationship. If he doesn't heal me, he doesn't help me, if things aren't good, he didn't hold up his end of the bargain, I am out. Feels like an impossible approach to who he is. But what if you had a covenant approach to your relationship with God? At some point, some moment of your life, maybe even today's the day, you got on your knees, you raised your hand, and something died in you. Your old self, your pride, convenience. And you began to live for his glory, for his purpose, for his life. You made a covenant. Said, God, I'm going to ask for healing, but no matter what, I'm going to remain faithful to you. God, I'm going to ask for the audacious, but no matter what, I'm going to follow you. May your will be done. See, the covenant approach in the Old Testament, there was a lamb. In the New Testament, there was Jesus. That's when grace comes in. That's why, we say these things like living together and premarital sex, and the church has messed it up so bad. Didn't talk about it, told you, no, don't do anything, and if you do, man, I don't know if you're going to get into heaven. No. Grace is always sufficient. So you might run out of love for him, but God never runs out of love for you. Moments of your life where you've just run out, but God never runs out of love for you. No matter a decision that you can make, no matter something you could feel like you've messed up so bad. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 13 puts it this way. It says, if we are faithless, he remains faithful. For he cannot disown himself. I want to encourage your marriages today. I want to encourage single people in the room today. I want to encourage people who have lost their spouse. God still has a plan. I want to encourage people today who have gotten a divorce and just feel shame about it because God doesn't view you as a person of shame. God views hope in your life. See, if he can forgive a multitude of sins. He can even forgive what you would view as such a big as divorce. He'll use your story if you allow him to. He'll use your life. He'll use your marriage. I wonder how many marriages are fractured because of miscommunication in this room. That God wants to restore today to be triumphant for their neighborhood, for their workspaces, for their friends. We move from casual, we move from contractual. We have a covenant with God. No matter what, God, I'm ride or die. I'm with you. I'm going to walk with you. I'm going to be with you.